Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here. Hope you are well. In this quick session, we are going to look at these parts. Let me move over to our website and we're looking at number 4 here, rules and conditions. So we're going to talk about variables and if-else logic inside this area here. Let's look at the teacher's notes. We're going to look at one condition only. We may stretch into the ifs and else's from previous lesson, but this one's going to be to do with more specific variables. We're going to go and make sure that we can test with individual outcomes. So is it this or that? And we can work out what's going to happen either side based on a story kind of role play situation. And we're going to make sure that we can check our values, and we're going to make sure that we can create proper if statements and get our if statements to work properly. So then we're going to trigger some outcomes as well. Let's go back into our game. And you may notice just behind my face here, I have this. And you'll notice that from the last lesson, this got really long at the beginning of our game. And to tidy this up, we're going to make a function. And you can do this for any long chunks of blocks where your page is getting completely full, but you know that that code works and you've tested it. So at the beginning of our game, we're going straight into this at the moment, which I said that I didn't want to do. But if you look inside the function, that's where everything is. So the whole beginning is inside my function called the start. And what I can do then is I can just put this block in here called call start like that. And it calls everything inside this function, and you can see it works completely differently like that. So I'm going to pull that out so we don't have to use it all the time, but when we come to put our game together later, this is a good little trick in order for you to go, and you don't have to go through the beginning of the game, for example, every single time that you want to test something or make something new, okay? So where do we get functions from? They are in the advanced section at the bottom. And then you can go and get functions, and you just go and make a function, and then you go into this, and I called mine start, and I just had something there and built, and then dragged all the blocks into the function like that. And then when I want to be called, I go to my function, and then I go and call the thing that I want, and I can put it in there at the beginning of my game. Okay, so what are we going to do with our game right now? Our character is a little bit lonely, if you like. It doesn't have anything to compete against, so it doesn't have anything inside the game that it's going to be giving us rewards or taking things away or any interactions at the moment. There's no interactions in this particular style of game where it's not really a shoot 'em up. This is more of an RPG game, so we're going to get some characters. We're going to start making some characters. So the first thing I want is maybe some characters that are going to go into here, and I want these characters to follow me around, and I want them to continually sort of come after me. And so I want them to be sort of news items and social media influencers and things like this, things that are just constantly around us, and our notifications are going off and all the time. And we want to go and assess what's been sold to us or whatever's been shown to us on social media or the internet or whatever, and then we can go and start to critically evaluate what's happening with that situation. So first thing we're going to do is make a character. Let's go into my sprite. Let's go and make a new character. And so what we want to do now is we want to go and get a different style of character. So we get different kinds. We need this to be an enemy. Now you'll notice that you can go and make new kinds, you can delete kinds, you can rename them, and you can add ones. And I've added one here called social media. And so this one inside my game, or our game, we are going to go and get a social media sprite. And this one here, we need to start being a little bit sort of clearer as to what we want our characters to do. You can see that I've called this one UB, this is U boy or UG, U girl, and then it's going to carry and follow my U boy. And you notice that I've changed the name of this. So we need to go and change the name, rename this. And when you go to rename it like this, you put your name in and call it what it is. Okay, that way it doesn't get confusing. I've set mine to be an influencer, and so this is a social media influencer. And a social media influencer is going to try and sell me something in my DMs or in my feed. So what's going to happen now? My character needs to be someone. Now I've got some characters for us already, and I've got this one here. I'm going to choose this one here. This is my influencer 2. And so influencer 2 needs to do something, really. So I want my influencer, you see that working. you'll see that this is going to change. I'm going to go and just break this and stop the game and just pull this out for a second, so it's not actually doing stuff in the background, because we're going to come to those bits in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just reset my game like this. Done. And my character now, my influencer is in the middle of the board, is in the middle of the screen. So what I want you to do, well, really I want my character, my sprite, my influencer to constantly follow me. So I'm going to get this one here with these variables. We're going to come to understand about these variables in a second in this video. These little variables here are going to be very important. So it's going to set my enemy to follow my sprite. Now, this is an important bit. You'll notice now that some of you may have even experienced this. You will get these errors, okay? And when you click on them, they will tell you specifically what the error is. And it says variable myEnemy is never assigned. That just means it doesn't know what my enemy is. So I need to go and set myEnemy, which is my influencer. And then once it's, because the influencer has been assigned there, now my sprite is no longer assigned, and I want that to go and follow UB in this game, okay? And that will change. Like so, done. So then inside my game now, let's go and refresh this, but you'll notice that this is now very fast. I need to go, and you can see that my influencer follows me at the same speed, and we don't really want that. So we need to go and set the speed of my influencer to be at a particular speed, and also I want them to be in a particular location. So how do we do that? If we click on the plus here, we've got speed. Let's go and put this down to, let's say 10. We don't want them too fast, but we still want them to be constantly chasing us around our tile map. Let's go and refresh it. And so now my characters, so now it's going to be always after me, and it's going to be quite annoying. Okay, so when that bumps into me, I want something to happen. Now we got a little bit of a sneaky preview before as to what was going to happen. We're going to have this conversation with our characters, but before we do that, we need to go and set the locations of where our character is going to be. So I pulled some blocks in here from my sprites section, and then I'm going to go and put my influencer there just underneath, and just put it into the loop, into the container. So my influencer is going to go into there at position 108 and 53. Now I haven't made that up. You can see that I put my influencer here now inside this little sort of drop down, and set UB to be in a particular spot. Now if we go and put them in the wrong order, let's go and do this on purpose and break the code, you'll see that you get this other error. It says fail to cast on null. And what this means is that you've got some, it looks like this is completely normal, but what it means is that the blocks you put in are in the wrong order. At the moment it's trying to set a character or a variable. It doesn't know what the variable is because it hasn't been set yet. So we'll pull this out of the way and then set UB underneath. So once it knows who UB is, then it knows where to go put the character. Now you can see I'm going to put my character over here in the corner, and we do that by clicking on here, and then I get a map of where I can go and put my character. But you can't. There's no picture, so you kind of have to guess where that character is going to stand or where they're going to be. So I've got 21 and 23. So you can see where that cross is kind of over here. It kind of matches 2023, kind of matches. The same with the influencer too. You can see that I'm going to put this over here, and that's where the character is going to sit. There's a little bit of guesswork when you're going to put them in for the first time, but it tends to work that way. Okay, so now my influencer is constantly chasing us. So what do we need to do now? Well, we need to have a conversation with these characters. Something's got to happen with our characters. On social media, influencers are generally trying to sell something. They're trying to sell a particular item. They're sponsored by something, or let's take a recent fad that was not so long ago is Prime. The drink Prime was a social media influence product. Okay, so using that idea, what I've done is I've gone and put this conversation together inside a container. But we need to go and get our container as to what's going to happen when the two sprites hit each other. We need this if this then that kind of idea. If the character hits one of these sprites, what's going to happen. And we get that from inside sprites, and they're called overlaps. And inside here, if we just roll down, we'll go and get these inside overlaps. And then in this section here, you can see that this is what's going to happen with your sprite. It's going to overlap with another kind, overlaps with another sprite. You can see that this is the hexagonal things that we talked about before, and you've got an oval here for your variables. And then you can set my sprite or whatever it is to another entity, okay? So what do we want to do? Well, inside here, I've started to go and put together a bit of a story, okay, with some choices. So if we go and put it together in here, this is inside my story. You can see that when they overlap with each other, I've paused the game for a second, but we can just read what's happening in here, and I've gone and put this together from this story. Okay, so from the story, I'm going to put a conversation, print in particular colors, print in the boxes at particular heights, and then also allowing the players to read, the humans, to read what's on the screen as well. Okay, so let's go and look at this. Okay, when a sprite kind of player overlaps with other sprite social media, and those are the different types, and this, you can see that this kind here is the influencer. The influencer, your character says, hey, I've got a new product, and you put it in this color and this color by clicking on these blocks here. You can just expand them, okay? And I've chosen these colors. All right. Hey, I've got a new product. It's dihydrogen monoxide. Now, anybody who's scientific here knows that dihydrogen monoxide is actually water. It's 2 hydrogens and one oxygen, which is monoxide. So dihydrogen monoxide, it's a superfood, want to buy some. So they're trying to sell you water, basically. And so this is going to come up very, very fast. So let's just go and do this real quick. Let's go and see what happens when our characters, we have this conversation. Let's go full screen. Monoxide, and it's very fast. It's too fast for us. Okay, just go and we can go into story, and we can go and set the page to and final page pause. So when it gets to the end of what it's writing here, it will slow right down, and you've got options in this drop down. So let's go and put that at the top so we can slow it down. And at the moment it's 100 milliseconds. Let's go and put it down to 2 seconds so we can actually read what's in that section. Let's go and restart it. Our character comes over, and then they have this. It's dihydrogen monoxide, 2 seconds, 1, 2, want to buy some. Okay, so now what we've got is this option. Now we've got a fork. Okay, so it's if this or that. So this is going to be our choice. This is our logic. Okay, this is going to be part of our variables, because once we've chosen one, we want something else to happen in the game. Mostly to do with our health and our points, so our XP and our score. All right. So let's just have a look to see what is next, and then we can go and choose inside the story. You can go and say whether you buy or pass. And of course, that is inside here as well. So you can go and put your choices down here. We've done this before. And then what we want to do now is go and get a logic. And then if that choice is one thing, it can be another. So if it's a choice, last answer equals, and then we can go and say buy, because we're going to be gullible. And then what's going to happen now is something's going to happen to our health. So here I'm going to put buy, and then last answer equals buy, and then change life by -1. Okay. Now we want something to happen now, don't we? We want our lives to go and change by -1, and our life will go down. But because this is the beginning of the game, we want to go and make it easy for them. And so when they go and pass, we want something good to happen to the characters. So in this particular situation, I'm going to put my influencer is set back to the same position where it was at the beginning of the game, which is 108.53, and then it's going to continue to come after me. So then you say, so I say, sad face, in this color. Let's go and see what that looks like. Let's go and play it real quick. In fact, we'll pause this and we'll just go and get this to be super fast. So we just change this so we know it's going to be super fast. We don't have to go through everything every single time. Come into our character. It goes through the thing. And then we get a choice whether we want to go and buy or pass. Let's go and buy it and see what happens to us now. And my health has gone down. Okay. So now it's gone down to 2. And what I should really do then is have something that's going to say whether I can get another heart and go into 4, or something's going to happen to me when these things occur. Okay, so let's just go and have a look. Now I've got an else here, and inside my else I can go and say change life by 1, and then I can say what's going to happen when we get 4 lives. So let's take a look at what I put in here. So instead of my life going down, my life's going to go up. And then I've got a smiley face. I've got a different color for my smiley faces. I destroyed the influencer because it's never going to be chasing me anymore, because I decided not to buy it and I passed off on it. And then I've got a special heart effect here, which you can go and get from inside here. And I destroy my sprites. So I can go and destroy my sprites. Destroy sprite, which is this. And then you can go and say which sprite you want to go and destroy. And you can say what effect you want on there and how long you want the effect to happen. So then what I can do now is change my score by 1. And now I've got this store inside the game. I've got these data points inside the game. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting for you as a player. Let's go full screen and see this in action. Do we want to buy some? I'm going to go, and this time I'm going to go and pass. And then my character then is destroyed. And I can set my character to anywhere I want. You can see that I've got points and I've now got an extra heart. Why is this important? Because it means now that we can start to use the logic, and we can start to use variables based on that logic. And what do I mean by this is the logic, yes or no, give me points, take points away. Gives me a score and gives me a value. That value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and whatever my score is. If my score or my health is this, then this is going to happen. So forever in our game, we want this continuous loop in the background that's measuring what is happening with our lives. Okay, so I've now got in my variables, I've now got my life, because I can go and get that from my info. So I have these variables here too. So I've got scores and lives. So if this score, let's go and break this up. So forever is here in my loops. And then if is my logic, which we've used before. And then if my life or my score is in here and is equal to whatever, now we can do something with our life. So let's go and put this in here, put this together, which is life. So go and grab this life oval, drag it in. If life equals 4 or more than 4 or whatever, you can change this. We want to do something, okay? So perhaps we want to change the speed of us, which is normally what can happen. We've got more life, we are faster. This happens in many different games. And so we can go and change, let's say, how fast we go. To do this and set our speed to be higher or lower, we need to change the speed that we are at into a variable. So here we are, we're moving our character with buttons and they go at a set speed, which is 100. What we want to do is change this, and you can see that they are ovals, which means we can put a variable inside the ovals. Let's go and make a variable. Let's go into our variables and make one called speed. Our speed already exists, so it must be here because I was using it before. Go and grab that and then go and set my speed. You can see I've got like some kind of elastic that's in there and it knows it wants to go in there. So then I can go and duplicate that. I'll put another one in, and now my character is going to move with speed. However, if life is 4, what speed do we want? Well, if we were already going at 100 points or 100 pixels for every tap, then perhaps maybe we need to go and set our speed to 110 or 105. We don't want it to be crazy, but that's what's going to happen. But the good thing about this, so let's just recap on where we are before we come to the end of this video. We're going to go into variables and what's going to happen with our variables. Now, if our life is starting to change and get higher or lower, we really want to change our speed. And our speed at the moment, if we look at our character, our speed is set within this controller here, which is at 100 pixels. Ideally, that needs to be a variable. You notice that it is an oval, so we can go and make a speed variable, and then we can drag that into here, grab another one, and now our character is going to move at a variable, not a standard and set number of 100, because as we get more lives and more health, and our life equals 4, we can go into our variables, and you can see that we can set or change our variables, and you can see whether we want to go and make our speed faster, or we can change it whatever for a temporary amount of time. So I'm going to set speed in here to 110 if it's at 4, and then we can go and test this. So my life now is going to go up. Let's go and play the game real quick, because I need to go and set my speed to 100. Let's go and set the beginning of the game, so my speed is set to 100. So at the beginning of my game, my speed is set to 100. Let's go and refresh this. So my speed now is 100. Now what we want is our health to change, and we want to go and pass on the dihydrogen monoxide. And so we can pass and get a score. Let's just go and do this, and we get a score and a heart. So we'll go through this real fast. Do we want to buy some? This time we're going to pass. And so now my influencer is destroyed. I get a point, and my life goes up. My life goes up by 1, and it means now that my life and my speed is set to 4, and my speed is 110. Why is this important? Because the store now and the data is permanently changing inside the game depending on what our score is. This is important because now inside our forever loop, we can go and change this into smaller speeds. As our life goes down or as our life goes up, we can start to change it. Let's go and put this down to 80. And so just like in Minecraft, for example, this is the same logic. And so when you're running out of food, you can no longer sprint. So if our life comes down to 0, then really we don't want our speed anymore, because we're at the end, we died. We can go and change and put our game together, and we can go and say game over. And we can go and say that you lose. That's the importance of the variables in our game, and we can go and experiment with this however we like. That's the end. If you've got any problems, don't forget you can message me with this, or you can just go, if you're doing this out of class, but also speak to your friends and make sure that you and your friends have come up with an idea on how to use variables brilliantly. All right, as always, good luck.